When my boss said, "Well, could you work one Saturday a month?" I said, "No. If this job ceases to benefit my family, then it ceases to be beneficial, no matter what the money is." There is a real reason why time-rich women are rare, but don't let that discourage you because I'm also going to show you in this video how to become one of the rare ones. But the reason why time-rich women are rare is because everything in our culture rewards women for being busy rather than being brilliant. From when we were a child, we learned that we need to stay busy with our time. If we finish our schoolwork early, then we need to do extra schoolwork. We didn't usually get free time. And we were taught to clock in and clock out and rush. And if you just sat around doing nothing, you usually got criticized for daydreaming. That's a real problem because daydreaming leads to amazing discoveries and brilliance. And so we have got to rethink the goal of life from being busy all the time to being more brilliant. So, why time rich women are rare and how you can become one of the rare ones. In case we're meeting for the very first time, my name is April Bragg, and I am the Time Rich Woman Coach, and I help women who are busy in life, busy with their careers, or busy running their businesses, find the clarity they need to simplify their life, to streamline it, and to be able to enjoy the feeling of being time rich, highly productive, highly paid, highly enjoyable days. One of the reasons why it's so hard to become time rich is because everything in our society reinforces the notion that every normal woman is busy. I was at a business mastermind recently, and one of the women raised her hands and said, "Even if I've been productive for all day long, got a lot done, I still, when I sit down, feel guilty about resting because my mind is telling me you could do more." And of course it is, because we are constantly being fed that message that more is better, and that to get ahead, we have to maximize our time, and that to rest is to be lazy. It's not, it's ridiculous. And so I want to share with you 3 reasons that time rich women are rare and how you can become one of those rare ones. And you'll see that it has nothing to do with time management, but everything to do with the clarity and the intentionality that you approach your own life. So, number one, the time rich woman sees time differently. Specifically, she sees her time differently, as in, she sees her time as already valuable. Most people think and have been taught to think that their time is worth whatever somebody else will pay for it. You know, how much is your time worth? Well, my boss will pay me $20 an hour. And that's how we think. But that is not what our time is worth. That is might be the current exchange rate of what we are trading our time for. But the time rich woman doesn't settle for what somebody else tells her what she should trade her time for. She decides intentionally what her time is worth. For example, when I was back in my working for an employer days, I decided that I was willing to trade up to 40 hours of my time in order to receive a certain amount of money to bless my family. I knew why I was going to work, and it wasn't to make a boss happy. It was because it would benefit my family. And because I had that clarity, that kind of backwards clarity, then when my boss said, "Well, could you work one Saturday a month?" I said, "No." And he said that during the job offer. And I said, "No," during the job offer. And he accepted that theoretically, and then came back to me a couple more times to test that boundary. And he would say it in ways that were designed to make me feel a little guilty. Like, I don't think it's asking too much to maybe one Saturday a month, just one Saturday a month. Felt like so much like a temptation. Just one bite of chocolate cake won't hurt you. Just one bite. But I had decided ahead of time that, listen, I don't even need to work. I mean, we can live on our budget as it is. The extra money would be nice, but my weekends are for my family. The only reason I took this job was because it would benefit my family. If this job ceases to benefit my family, then it ceases to be beneficial, no matter what the money is. I'm saying that when you see your time as valuable and something that you exchange for to invest in your life and the life of others, it will change and it will give you more confidence in the way that you give your yeses and nos. But so many times we just don't question it this way. And like I said, I don't blame you for that because we have all been taught that the point of life is to grow up and go get a job. That is not the point of life. The job is meant to serve our life. Our life is not meant to serve the job. So when you realize that your time is already valuable, no matter what amount of money you're receiving for it, then that will change the way you think. That will make you realize sometimes I will trade my money for dollars, but sometimes I won't trade my, excuse me, sometimes I'll trade my time for money, but sometimes I won't. Sometimes I will trade my time for picking up skills that might make me more money. Or sometimes I'll trade my time for opportunities that may never come again. Sometimes I will take my time and reinvest it in rest because a well rested woman is, how do I say this? A well-rested woman is so rare these days that I'm not even sure how to paint a picture of what a well-rested woman looks like. A well-rested woman brings higher intentionality, higher thinking skills, higher value even to her time. If you'll notice, the times that you've regretted some of your decisions have been the times that you've been running the most tired. When our time is valuable, we'll see that it's not about just money. It's about rest or creativity or connection with our loved ones. So the time rich woman, because she already sees her time as valuable ahead of before other people are valuing it, then she doesn't say yes casually. She says yes consciously. And when you start seeing your time this way, then you'll stop selling it cheap. Again, I have to say this, the time rich woman understands that you lead the way in this, as in you can't wait for other people to value your time more than you value it yourself. You have to be the first person to value your time. Which brings me to point number 2. The time rich woman owns her attention. Now, there is nothing harder than this step. And I'm just being honest with you. The algorithms have gotten so good at knowing what will grab our attention, hook it, keep it, that it is not unusual for an hour to pass when we just picked up our phone. Like maybe I was going to go on Facebook to post something, and I pick up my phone, and before I even post, I lose track of that thought, and I start reading everybody else's posts. Because the algorithm knows how to get my attention. It's been studying me. It's been more conscious of me than I've been conscious of me for a very, very long time. So everything and everyone, it feels like, might be trying to steal it. The notifications, the outraged news headlines, the algorithms, the crisis of the day. But the time-rich woman guards her attention like it is a treasure. So she decides ahead of time what is relevant to her future and then filters everything else through that lens. So many times we are waiting for people to bring things to our attention, and we are the passive receivers of it. But we need to choose intentionally, what is this season for? What am I aiming for at this stage of life? What would make my life significantly better? And what do I need to be looking for that? When you realize it, there is so much written on this. If you want to study this deeper, go into do a search on the reticular activation system and how that works. Because when you decide what is worthy of your attention, then your eyes will start seeing the things that are aligned with that. And that will help you to focus on what matters most to you. So, the time rich woman, she does not get distracted by every demand. She is directed by her own decisions. She made them ahead of time. And then when somebody hits her up on the spur of the moment at church, at work, at the Christmas party, she knows to pause. And by the way, in case this is hard for you, I actually have a 60-second decision filter that will have you making decisions more easily and more confidently, and also more aligned with your future. So I'll make sure that I'll put the link in the description below. But own your attention. Understand that if you have a time shortage in your life, if there is a gap or unexplained time missing from your week, it is definitely because something else has stolen your attention. And it's like I said, I am not saying that this is easy. I'm saying you have to be consciously aware of this, but I am saying that it gets easier as you go. You'll learn how to put in guardrails for your own attention. Here's one of my top tips for putting in a guardrail for your own attention. Cut down on notifications wherever you can. Now, I'm not saying that you should shut down your phone and never look at it. I am saying maybe silence all notifications except for text or phone calls from people that are very important to you, and allow those other things to pile up and you just address them maybe in the mid afternoon when your energy is already getting tired. Instead of every interruption slowing you down and distracting you from what you were thinking about right then. Every time we're interrupted, it can take up to 22 minutes to get back on task. Doesn't that blow your mind? To think if you're deep in work and then you get interrupted, it can take up to 22 minutes to get back on task. Now, how long do you think your tasks would take if we just got rid of all the 22-minute distractions in our day? It would probably take less than 22 minutes. That's what I have discovered. So, own your attention. And then number 3, the time-rich woman manages her energy. Our time is fixed, as in we have 168 hours a week. I like to think of that as our time budget. But our energy is renewable. Doesn't mean that we always remember to renew it. The time-rich woman pays attention and makes sure that she is, instead of managing her time, she's actually managing her energy, because she understands that if she brings the highest of her energy to the most important tasks of the day, or the most important priority, then that is a huge time savings in itself. She also understands that when we're tired, we tend to make poor decisions. We say yes to things that don't matter to us, or we don't see shortcuts, or we take longer to complete something. And so, if it feels like, one of the frustrations for me is that there are so many women that think that they are bad at time management, when I think, no, you probably need better energy management. As in, you're lacking on the amount of rest and relaxation that you need to function optimally. And I'll tell you why we get into the habit of ignoring our energy requirements. It's because, especially if we had young children, we start to crave that quiet part at the end of the day when the kids are asleep and we get time to ourselves. What? And so, because it feels so rare and something that we just want to hang on to and extend a little bit longer, then we will sometimes scroll into the night and pay the price the next day. This is what I recommend to break that cycle. Designate time for yourself. So maybe instead of waiting until at the end of the day, maybe you grab that hour to yourself in the morning. Don't feel guilty about giving yourself time. Do not. One of the reasons that there is so few women that become time rich is because when they do get time to themselves, they tend to give it away again. And what I'm showing you is that you need to reclaim those hours because those are what motivate you to become more efficient by managing your energy better. But if you keep on giving them away or keep on letting them scatter away like they're not yours or just letting anything and everything grab its attention, then you'll never truly enjoy the benefit, the trade off. You won't get the dopamine hit from, oh, I created this extra hour in my day and now I'm going to enjoy it fully. One of the things that you can do to reverse this is think about that vacation effect. Have you ever noticed how incredibly efficient we will sometimes get at our work if we're about to go on vacation and we don't want to take our work with us? Yes. Now just take that mindset and bring it to your weekly work week. See if you can just like compress your work into tighter time spans, bring the best of your energy to it. And instead of thinking this has got to take the full hour, no, just get it done. If it gets done faster, don't worry about it. Enjoy the extra time. So, the time rich woman, when she manages her energy, she is treating her energy like it is a very valuable currency. And she is investing in it. She is investing it in what gives her returns on joy and peace and actual progress, not just busy work. And here's another thing, she doesn't keep on pushing through when she's drained. A while back, I learned that sometimes a 15-minute nap can make me way more efficient on the other side of that for the next 2 hours. Like a 15-minute nap can buy me 2 more hours of energy to get a big project done. She restores her energy before it completely drains out. She does not keep on pushing herself to the max and then burning herself kind of out and then moving slowly the next 2 or 3 days. And she understands that rest is not indulgence, it is actually strategic. So, the time rich woman pays attention to her energy. And so, whenever it's high, she does the best of her work. And whenever it's low, then she enjoys relaxing or refreshing or doing things that are a little bit easier. And that's how she gets more done with less stress because she is not running on somebody else's schedule. She's running on her own rhythms. All right. So, in closing, the time rich woman is rare because everything in society and everything on the algorithm and everything in social media is training us to be time poor. It's robbing us of our time, it's robbing us of our attention, and it's burning our energy. But if we have the courage to take on the identity of becoming the time rich woman, and then we start with these 3 points of valuing your time highly, owning your attention, deciding ahead of time what you're going to give it to, and then managing your energy so that tomorrow you'll have even more energy than perhaps today. If you'll start with just those 3 steps, you'll become one of the rare ones. So I invite you to join me in becoming the time rich woman. And if you have any questions or you have any comments, put those in the, please feel free to share them. I love seeing them. Also, let me hear from you. If you had more time, what would you love to give it to? Tell me in the comments below. What's something that you would like to give more of your time to? Not something that you should. Don't give me any shoulds. No guilty shoulds here. Something that you would truly desire to give more of your time to. I'm thinking about this in light of 2026, and I'm thinking maybe it's time to pick up a hobby that is not so mental, but it's more physical. And what made me think about that is because look at this. I bought this cup at Out of the Blue Pottery, and I just love it so much. And it reminded me of how much I love handcrafted pottery and special artesian quality things. And so, anyway, that's something that I'm going to be exploring for 2026. That's my answer. What I would like to give more time to artesian quality products or maybe a hobby. So, we'll see. All right. Can't wait to hear your answer. And make sure to grab the 60-second decision filter. It will help you make all of your decisions more confidently with more clarity. And if you would like to join my workshop, make sure you go to aprilbragg.com/time and get on to the waiting list for the very next upcoming workshop, where it talks about the 3 steps to becoming the time-rich woman. But in closing, remember this: becoming a time-rich woman isn't actually about having more hours in your day. It's about enjoying the ones that you already have. So when you start to see differently, when you guard your attention and when you manage your energy, then you'll be able to start multiplying your time instead of feeling like you're losing it. And that's when we stop chasing that mythical work-life balance and we start living in the rhythm and flow of our own days. So that's what I want for you as you become the time rich woman. Talk to you later. Bye bye.